Hi all. These are generally conversations between adults after the children have left the table. The language can be spicy and the subjects can get saucy. So if you're ready, this is the Southern Fork. Unscripted kitchen chats and also studio chats with some of the most interesting voices in the culinary South. I'm Stephanie Burt, a food and beverage writer based in Charleston, South Carolina, who travels with her fork to write for a variety of publications, from magazines you might have on your coffee table to the website you love to visit for your favorite recipes. And I'm inviting you to come behind the scenes with me to get to know the people who make this Southern culinary landscape so special. I'm always hungry for the next bite, thirsty for that next sip, and ready for the next conversation. Let's dig in. The Southern Fork is honored to be presented again this year by Townsend Automotive in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. For more than 48 years, the Townsend family of dealerships has been a locally owned company built on service and connection with its customers. And their experienced team can walk you through the car buying process side by side, from test drive to service oil changes and beyond. Townsend goes through a rigorous vetting process to make sure that every pre-owned vehicle adheres to quality standards. And right now, there's plenty on the lot to choose from in various makes and models. Visit townsendhonda.com for current inventory, or if you're in West Alabama, stop in. Townsend Automotive salutes local entrepreneurs, from restaurateurs to podcasters, and they welcome you to be part of a community that does the same. Vern's in Charleston, South Carolina represents the culmination of Daniel and Bethany Henize's years of experience. They've worked in lauded restaurants around the country, including the now closed Charleston institution McCrady's, as well as Animal, Jon Vinny's, and Gjusta in Los Angeles. Located in a quaint corner building from the 1880s and named after Daniel's grandfather, the menu emphasizes of-the-moment seasonal ingredients and shareable plates. The wine program focuses on small producers with organic and biodynamic practices, and glasses clink all evening long in a dining room that feels like a relaxed dinner party at a chef's residence, more than one of the hottest restaurants to open in the city in the last 5 years. The love that this couple has for an industry that's been through the ringer recently is evident, and their commitment to excellence already at Vern's provides hope that the art of dining out and dining well has staying power. Welcome to the Southern Fork, you two.
Hi.
I'm glad to be sitting here at what I would like to now term is my table.
Yes,
the two times that I've been here, I've sat in this exact seat. It just feels comfortable to me. So, but thank you so much for having me in on a Tuesday when no one else is in here, but
it's nice and calm.
Can't technically call it a day off.
No, it's definitely not a day off. We just received about $10,000 in wine.
It's a pause in the normal operation.
Yeah.
Catch up.
Well,
nice.
How long has it officially been open now?
Just went through our 6th week. Next week will be...
All right, is it still fun? You're getting some kind of rhythm? I mean,
absolutely.
You both have this look of like, oh, we've crossed over.
We definitely crossed over. I think we knew that night one, though. I was like, oh, shit. It's been amazing. It's just, new restaurants. Everyone's been very supportive and excited, and it's felt pretty nonstop for the 7 weeks straight.
It has been nonstop.
It has been nonstop.
That's why it feels that way.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think, it's reality now. It's like, this is our life, and it's truly our dream realized, and like in this space, just living here and like physically living most hours of our life, it's like, it's surreal, you know? Mm-hmm. It's everything that we've wanted for a long time.
Well, we were just laughing off mic about the fact that I scooped everyone else that has written about this because I knew about Vern's 2 years before Vern's. But you said, you were telling me, I was at a party.
Yep, we were at a party.
We were partying.
It was a Christmas party.
It was a Christmas party where it is the most epic Christmas party.
Always.
It is.
I mean, living across the country, we had FOMO for years about the Christmas party. We're like, what is happening?
I did not know.
At the party?
And we're not going to mention the party because we have to be respectful.
Party person, you know who you are.
Yes, exactly. We were there. We were having some fun. And you wanted to tell me
Yep.
a big secret.
Yep.
And what was
Told
that
you about
secret?
the big secret that I had no idea how to explain our concepts.
And what did I say?
You said that's a big problem.
I think I said, well, I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm excited that you're coming back here. And I think everybody feels that way. But come back to me.
Circle back with some details.
Circle back with some details when you have an elevator speech. And so Vern's has been open for 7 weeks. So how do you explain it?
You want to take the wheel on this?
We are, I think first and foremost, we wanted to be a neighborhood restaurant, somewhere that's accessible to every kind of diner. You can come in here in flip-flops and feel comfortable, and I feel like you could also come here in a suit and tie and feel comfortable.
And Bear can come here.
Bear comes
As
here.
is.
Bear
multiple
is
times a week.
Multiple
Grateful
times a
Dead,
week.
vintage tea, and just fresh out the shower.
Yeah. He looks good, he smells good, and he eats well.
Shout out to Bear.
We want the food to be approachable, but also have some creativeness to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the creativeness will come once we kind of get a little bit more grounded. We've been so busy that we just are just trying to really just absorb every aspect of the restaurant right now.
Dial it in.
Dial it in,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
That's a favorite chef term. Dialing it in.
Dial it in.
What are we drinking right now?
I popped a bottle. I figured, it's a Tuesday. This is a really awesome French orange from Bergerac. It's a Semillon, 100% with 3 weeks of skin contact.
Beautiful, glowing,
it's beautiful, right?
tangerine color. Mm-hmm.
It tastes like tangerine.
It
Like
does. It does.
herbs and tangerine. Skin contact wine. All the rage.
Yeah. So extra. Yes. But I think what has been so exciting is that you're both so talented. Charleston, as a culinary culture, has been a second city for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been the city to come after San Francisco, after New York, after Chicago, and then to go to smaller markets. And, y'all went out to LA and you went bigger to a bigger market. And normally that doesn't translate to coming back. And so there was just excitement of coming back to that culinary community. And I know that I've asked you this before, but Charleston isn't the same as when you left.
Totally.
It's shifted. The real estate prices are skyrocketed. The scene is different. Your diners are different. Why did you make the decision to return?
The fastest response is we missed it. We missed mostly the people and the community. It's like you can live anywhere in the world, right? It's like we can choose to be physically anywhere we want. But if it doesn't have the people in it, it is not the same. And I think LA served like a massive purpose for both of us professionally and expanded our beings in so many different ways. But it just, after, a handful of years, it was like, how long do we stay? Do we want to go somewhere else? Do we want to... Setting roots down for a restaurant in this style is very difficult in LA. As like an economy, it's a lot of factors are working against it. And
having covered just an infinitesimal part of the LA restaurant scene. I can attest to that. Like you have to get it out of the gate.
You do.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
scale and size and volume. And
the restaurants are huge.
They're huge.
They have
and
to be.
if they're not huge,
Right.
they're
Survive
doing
there.
a ton of volume within small spaces. And we experienced a lot of both of those things. Different ventures outside of the restaurant space with catering and special projects and things that create revenue for restaurants, outside of a dining room. So it was very eye-opening on the business aspect and the operations aspect. It made us both feel very strong in what we do. But I don't know, there's just this longing to have this somewhat of a simple concept, which is a restaurant, and it's something that I think, especially post-COVID, a lot of people have kind of written off as a smart decision, and we almost got to that point too. But it's like, we have our one life in our one time here. It's like, let's give it a whirl. And Charleston was sort of an undeniable place that we love so much, and the level of support that we have here with any style of business, to have support is so crucial, whether it's family or friends or peers, and we have kind of all that in Charleston, so it felt right.
The support isn't just, as the restaurant industry says, butts and seats.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually your network of
Absolutely.
farmers, fishermen, distributors, which we're
Fix-it
going to
people.
talk, the fix-it people. You have all of that.
Yeah.
And after being CDC for such a long time at McCrady's, you're running those operations,
Definitely.
Now, I'm going to ask you what your fences are on the food, because I want to dig in a little bit on the food. And when we come into a neighborhood bistro, I would say it's New American with French influence, French technique, which is pretty rudimentary as far as explaining something like that. But where are the edges? How do you know when something fits on the menu right now? Because it I have to say, Dano, it feels a little dialed in already.
I'm glad. I think it's in a place that we're happy with right now, but I think dialing things in is always a process, and I think we can always be better. But I mean, there's definitely some French technique, there's some Italian technique, and there's definitely some Japanese technique as well. We just kind of like to grab whichever one of those techniques, or a little bit of all of them, fit into the dish that we're preparing. We like to season things really well. We like umami. We like acid. We like lots of herbs. And I think that also we really like working with local purveyors. So we tend to take things and try to kind of fit them into dishes, if we can, so that we can use something that's locally and delicious. Been really good so far at not using much commodity product.
So, as a chef, I'd love for you to speak to why you take that extra step, choosing local purveyors, what it provides for you creatively, end up on the product. Because I think we talk a lot about the romanticism of local food. It's wonderful. We'd never forget, when you're sitting with Jason Stanhope, you never forget that that's a farmer that he knows.
Totally.
And that's definitely part of the story. But you're also running a small business, the two of you. So why is it important to do that extra step, to do that work?
I think sustainability in our own kind of economic thing that we have going on here in Charleston, but also creating those relationships. It's like Hamilton Horn from Kingstide was in here today, and he's been growing stuff for us, and like we're working together right now to grow things that nobody else is using in Charleston. And it's going to be a process, but like how much fun is that? That's like having our own experimentation with
it's like a lab.
Yeah,
It is like
no,
a food
totally,
lab.
but it's just
And
organic.
he's so excited, and it's like fueling someone else's fire at the same time is so cool.
And we were just like wrapping it up together, and
Yeah.
he's growing all these crazy bitter greens for us and all that stuff. And it's like, we won't have them right away, but it's just the process of it. It's just like creating a dish. It's like you're figuring out new avenues to create ingredients in the South that people aren't necessarily growing or using as well, which is so much fun. My favorite part of being a chef is working with purveyors and working with people who specialize in things, and then taking what they have and, giving them business, and also being able to make that product shine on the plate, because that's always going to taste better. Even if you do less to it than you would do to something else, it's always going to taste better than if you buy garbage produce, from a big company.
And you have to really love front of house. You have to gravitate toward front of house, and you have to understand that front of house is as important to the success of a restaurant as what's coming out of the kitchen. Writers, and I've been neglectful of this as well over the years, haven't given the weight to that vibe, that experience, that building, whereas it's easier for the lay person to understand art on a plate, to say it in a really rote, flat way. It's harder to understand the art of experience. Yeah. So basically you're holding a improv play every night.
Absolutely.
And the curtain goes up.
Yeah.
And the curtain goes down.
The theater of it is definitely fascinating to me. I really love a service style that, has the facade, but it's more of a genuine facade. And I really try to seek people who are like genuinely kind, thoughtful human beings. And I think that was my main priority with a staff here. It's such a small, intimate room. It's like, if you have someone who's fake or going through motions or being robotic, even if they're a great, server.
Technically.
Yeah, technically they're not connecting. They're not looking out for someone. They're not treating them as if they were their best friend at the table.
They're not hosting.
They're not hosting.
This feels like a living room. I think that's what we keep talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate goal. And it's, I think, removing any sort of pretension, any sort of different expectations on service levels. I just really try to fill the room with people who care. And, we found a really, really wonderful group of people, front of house and back.
We're very lucky.
And they are also curious, and they're here to learn. They're here to learn from us, but also from each other and, from the products we have, the wine we have. So keeping our team small, keeping our concept small, that was really at the forefront for us with staffing. And, it's like the dining room's such an energy. Even if there's like a lull in the middle of the night, it's like, how do you keep everyone moving and happy and excited and engaging more with their tables?
Without house music.
Exactly. Yes, not cranking the volume, like just getting, deeper into service. I'm very sensitive to the energy of a room, whether it's lighting or sound or people's body language, and how we can make them relax more and feel just more at home. And I think kind of keeping that common thread with everyone on staff is the goal.
Well, let's keep that spirit and talk a little bit about the wine list, which I am frankly fangirling. I'm over the moon about it. I just want to express that, well, number one, you have to educate yourself as a writer. Yeah. And so I'm getting to that point where I can look at a list and be like, ooh, and before I would just be like, oh, you say this is a good list? Okay. Because I didn't know, but thankfully I have wonderful teachers in restaurants and I get to learn. Yeah. And I looked at it and I was like, this is just so fun. There's just so much that's really fun about it.
Thank you.
But it looks like a shit ton of work.
It is just
small producers, rotating. And you're rotating seasonally, and you're running a small staff. I mean, you're making a lot of work for yourself.
Someone called us masochists the other day. I was like, you're kind of right. I definitely have an addiction to buying wine, a constant fascination with discovering wine, and I think that was my main experience out in LA with beverage. Before in Charleston, I was very kind of cocktail bar focused. And then I moved more into management out there, fully into management, but also as a wine buyer in a big market. And I was just exposed to thousands of new flavors and, and grapes and places and stories. And it was just like a fascination. I don't know. So I love to share that with people. And I think, yes, it's a lot of work, but it's so worth it to have a really fun list. It's like the wine should be as interesting and exciting as the food. The easy way is to just have a very stagnant program, and I won't do it.
So what makes a wine that you're excited about right now? You don't have to name names.
Yeah.
But like what goes, yes.
I think
the flavors that are lighting you up, the
totally.
regions that are lighting you up.
I mean, I think like there's an electricity to certain wines that it's hard to say in like a tasting note. It's more like it's a structure. It just has life to it, and it's not weighted. It's not clunky. I don't know, just something that feels vibrant and fresh, like a well-seasoned dish. It has acid and flavor and seasoning. I think of wine and cocktails in the same way. So for me, it's kind of chasing that, and finding it. And then I like to really be thoughtful about the diversity of the list in terms of flavor, but price point, and having enough options kind of in each bracket. So, someone who wants to spend $50-$60 has a lot of cool options, and then
that's legit for two people sharing a bottle of wine, because you have two cocktails or half a bottle of wine. It's $25.
Same price. Yeah. So it's like having that opportunity to get in on something cool on that price point is important. And then, going up from there and having some special rare bottles on the list too for the people who are looking for that experience. I think it also is reflecting concept in general. It's like, do you want to come in and just have like a juicy juice and, a salad, or do you want to come in and have a 3-course meal with a couple really special bottles to celebrate? The biggest thing for me is having a baseline of farming practices too, to mention. So I don't buy anything that has had pesticides in the vineyards or any sort of non-natural additives in the winemaking process. So,
and for those of you that are listening to this and know the archives, I would like to reference the Sarah Pierre Three Parks Wine episode that I did in Atlanta, Georgia, because we dive deep into what Bethany is talking about here. So there's a great reference there.
Amazing. It's a movement that happened with food, a couple decades ago when Whole Foods first came around, where it's like, oh, what does organic mean? What's non-organic, and taking that veil away from food was so massive for our generation of, how we eat now and how we buy food. And I think it's kind of the same with wine. It's in the infancy, but natural wine made this huge splash in terms of people's consumption. And that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. I try not to label our list as natural because it has such a connotation now. However, most wines are definitely natural.
Right.
So
wine should be natural. It's a grape. It's farming.
Exactly.
It's a food. Yeah.
Exactly.
So before we get to the final questions, and I can't believe we're almost to the final questions, I have to ask you about this thing that I struggle with. But also, when you're at McCrady's, you're doing really connection to history things. You're going in, you're focusing on the historical stuff. And yet it's extremely modern. It's molecular. It's this juxtaposition, which writers like to use that term when they can't explain things. And then here, it's very modern but very old. And I think that's something that I sat down in and thought, this is what modern Charleston is. It's very modern and very old.
Yeah.
And I think, like, for me, the exemplary dish of this is your escargot.
Amazing.
I love that.
Because the escargot comes out without the shells, which is a trope. And we talked about that. For Southern Fork listeners, I have a weird obsession with escargot. And I've written on escargot in Charleston before. I really like to eat snails. I think they're also a very sustainable food, and we should eat more of them in the United States. And I've even thought about growing them. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that, you know my email. But escargot comes in a can, stateside in the United States. And you have to do something to it, and then you put it into the shell to present it. Mm-hmm. And the shells have to be sold separately because they have to go through a disinfection. Yeah. So it's this whole, like, fake thing. Mm-hmm. It's like devil crab is now like that. But same thing. And Dano's escargot has no shells. It just comes out. And I was like, what is this? And it comes out on this plate, and it's surrounded by a green garlic. What else is in that? Fennel?
Tarragon.
Tarragon. Explain the dish.
Yeah, so...
because I'm just sitting here going, there's a lot of butter.
It's so good.
No, I mean, it's kind of what it is. I mean, escargot and butter, everyone knows that works. So, this is actually a dish that I created at McCrady's. This is a little bit different rendition of it, but we used to do it just for the bar at McCrady's. We skewer the snails, and we grill them over charcoal first, and then we season them with lemon, lime, salt, and then we take a couple slices of Gruyere cheese and melt that over the top of them after we take them off the skewer. And then in a pan, we make a al minute sauce of shallots and garlic and pickled ramps, white wine, a little bit of cream, and we finish it with a decent amount of butter and lemon juice. And that's the sauce on the plate. And then the escargot that are kind of encased in Gruyere cheese go on top of that, and then just a little bit of molten salt. We used to put breadcrumbs on it. I think
we recommend
lighter,
the bread
clean.
On the side.
Yeah, we do our bread that
bread.
we recommend with it.
It's really interesting, one, because I've had a lot of escargot over the years because I've ordered it since my 20s because I'm weird like that. And they're normally not well cooked. They're chewy.
Yeah.
You know, they're like calamari if you get them bad. And then, two, it's all about the sauce and the garlic, and the snails are an afterthought. But cooking them with lemon and lime and over charcoal, I mean, they just have this flavor. And how do you walk that line at Vern's between history and tradition and modern? Or can you even put it into words?
I think everything about that dish is pretty classic as far as history goes. I mean, that's a very classic, pan sauce that we're making with the escargot. I think keeping him out of the shell maybe could possibly be modern. I don't know. I guess the only time I've never really thought about it, but the only escargot I've ever had are always in the shell. You're right.
But also,
it's like a mental.
It
right?
wasn't even
it's
the thing. That's not what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm like. It's like deboning rabbit and grinding it and put it into our campanelli. It's like the accessibility and like the eatability of that. I like to eat things easily. Like, yeah, I'll sit down and crack some crabs sometime, but I'd rather have it already cracked in a pool of butter for me.
Yeah.
So I guess like
Yeah.
kind of the same thing. It's like you're coming into a restaurant. It's like if you can just spoon a piece of escargot with everything on it, I think I'm very into that.
Yeah.
But
not
like,
to say that we won't have things on
grilling,
the shell, but
grilling them though. Grilling them is very modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're not.
I think you like speckle in a lot more technique than you give yourself credit for. That is modern.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I don't know.
It's just how we work.
Yes, it's natural though. It's the way you cook is. I think that the influences you mentioned early, like the slight Japanese things that you carry through with your cooking and the Italian and French like touches kind of culminate together to be like your style,
I agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
She knows me better than anybody else.
I would hope so.
Otherwise, we got another
problem.
This is becoming an Esther Perel. All right. So, I know that you've been hungry for this for 2 years plus. Much longer than that. I just have to ask you now, what is making you hungry at this point?
More.
More?
Yeah.
More what?
More. We want to elevate the menu, and we want to get more staff members in here.
More staff.
We want to, eventually get some cool fundraising stuff going on, and be able to give more opportunity to more people. And so just more of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. I think the future is so, we're focused so much on the present, as we have to be,
yep.
that the future is definitely exciting. We opened, this restaurant too to be a launching pad for whatever comes next. And
yep.
I think the biggest thing too is obviously keeping this place very thriving, relevant, exciting, but creating opportunities for the people who've committed to working with us, being a part of our team, and expanding beyond one thing to create opportunities for them too.
And expanding on the program here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's really a lot more about creative vision than just running a business.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one aspect, quickfire, of each of your jobs that you've created for yourselves that meshes with the natural piece of your personality?
Talked a little bit about the front of house role, but human connection, I think, is so important to me. I think real human connection and knowing people and understanding their needs and wants. I love in my personal life with my friends and family, and thoughtfulness and being there for people. So it's really cool to carry that through to strangers, It's I don't know. I love it. It makes me
and it's
really
a really
happy.
Personal thing
It is.
To feed people.
It is.
And if people know that you know what they like,
Yeah.
and how they feel taken care of, that is a very intimate thing. So, what about for you?
I think positive energy. Whether it be the front of the house or in the kitchen, or the front of the house and the kitchen, and the energy in the dining room. I think just positive energy everywhere. We want everyone to be smiling and happy, and not that any other place doesn't, but it's definitely a humongous goal of ours, is to just kind of keep things with very high energy, but not only very high energy, but positive energy.
Yeah. You have more energy than anyone I've ever met.
Yes, and
even though it doesn't seem like it right now, probably.
Oh no, it does. You have more energy sitting across from me right now. I just was sitting here earlier thinking, he's a kinetic learner. He has to move in order to understand the world. Yep. And you're sitting here listening to me, and that's just what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm glad I got him on a down day.
Yeah, catch him at 9 a.m.
I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to talk when you got here.
All right, quick fire. What is one thing keeping you up at night, Bethany?
Oh, we have no trouble sleeping.
Yeah, that's so true. I sleep like a
baby. we sleep about 4 hours a night, and they're like we're dead, and then we wake up and we start over again.
I don't know. There's not really any fear at the moment, because I think we're just so enveloped in the operation.
Yeah, you've gone over the Niagara Falls and the rest.
Yeah. I guess it's like
the
a baby.
raincoat really isn't covering it.
Yeah.
You're just going.
It's like a baby thing. I don't have a baby, but
really.
I assume it's you wake up and you're like, oh shit, there's a baby to feed.
Yeah.
That's
horses in the race. We got the blinders on. We're just
going.
We're going.
What
keeps you up? Anything?
New
New dish.
Yeah, I think being able to have more time to create more, which will come, but this board was made for that, and it's just slapping shit together right now. Hopefully people like it. So
you're like, let's put these
eventually be able to like
sit
down and like, you know, like I have a process that I go through to write down ideas with local ingredients and kind of place them around. But right now I'm like, carrots, do that. Let's go.
Carrots. We got carrots. Let's use some carrots. All right. So, I'm just really proud, like an auntie, of this restaurant, even though I've done nothing to make it a success. But I have a magic picnic basket. So in this magic picnic basket, I can do all kinds of crazy things. I can time travel with it and go back and get you one bite of something that you would love. Just one more bite of. I can source for you, and I can cook a little bit. So because you have built a business together and a life together, I'm going to ask you to build a basket together. What are some of the things that I can put in the basket?
In the basket, can we have some tostadas from the food truck in Venice that we used to go to every day?
La Bonita.
La Bonita. Some shrimp tostadas, please.
Okay.
I can go on for days.
Yeah.
What is your standing order at the Royal American?
The Philly cheesesteak is unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. All right, throw in a Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, but that's just what we've been eating because anyway, whatever.
It's a lot of calories at once.
Oh my goodness.
I would do an entire sushi boat, please. A sushi boat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of sushi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you going to go red, white, orange? What are you doing here? Sparkling still?
I would say it's like a sparkling red.
There's some French fries in there, too.
And some French fries.
Okay, so let's dig into the French fries for a minute.
Yeah.
Do we like them fried, double fried? Do we like skinny, fat, duck fat fried? What is going on?
Perfectly two blanch, skinny cut Kennebec potato French fry.
Okay, and dipping?
As many as possible. Ketchup, ranch, honey mustard. Just as many.
A buffet.
Yeah.
A buffet. Some pesto.
Yeah, why not?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. French fries are my favorite food.
It's so good.
I'm like, if it's, fried chicken and French fries, it's sad. I want to like other things more than that. But
no, so
French
good.
fries are the perfect move for the potato.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And if people think that mashed potatoes are better, they just haven't had the right fry.
They don't know.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, if people want to learn more about Vern's and these two that are some of the loveliest people in Charleston, and we're so happy to have them back, you can go to thesouthernfork.com. I'm going to have links there as well as images so you can see the face behind the voice. If you like what you hear, we're looking at $295. 295 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to be collecting Social Security soon because it doesn't pay anything and I've been doing it forever. I take that back. Townsend Honda, I love you. But anyway, please dive into the archives. Thank you so much. Thanks for the wine.
Thank you,
I
Stephanie.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
We love you. Thanks for your
y'all.
support.
You've been listening to The Southern Fork. I can't wait to bring you more culinary conversations, but in the meantime, I have one question. Are you gonna eat all that?